Investing on a budget is tough and definitely overwhelming. But for many of us, investing on a budget is something that we just have to grapple with. So whether you're an investor, an aspiring investor, or someone who just wants to learn more about managing their money, budgeting is a crucial skill for you to have. For the uninitiated, many investors begin their journey right here, saving money to start investing. Not everybody just has stacks of cash laying around ready to be invested. Let's start with some actionable steps that you'll need in order to set aside money each month. And before you say, V, I don't have any money to set aside each month, I want to challenge you to reevaluate your expenses and your revenue and reconsider. We're going to start by calculating our income and expenses. This way, we can let the full extent of what we have guide the budget that we create. A big tip is to be realistic when setting a budget. That's why we collect the data. We'll start by calculating your net income. To do this, you're gonna wanna collect all of your sources of revenue. This includes your take-home pay, your side hustles, or any freelance work that you do. Do this for a few months. It'll give you the most accurate picture of your average take-home pay. Calculate the value of your income after taxes. It will give you a much more accurate picture of what you're working with on a month-to-month basis. Ask yourself, how much money is left over at the end of the month? And it's okay if it's zero right now, because we're gonna take a look at those expenses and reevaluate. We've calculated our income. The second step is to calculate the debts and expenses. We're going to determine your fixed and variable expenses. Fixed expenses don't change. These are your mortgages, your car payments, whereas your variable expenses do. Consider gas prices or grocery expenses. Categorize and add each expense up. Do this for a few months to compare the numbers. Maybe 1 month was extra in the variable expenses. Why? Maybe the other month was really low in the variable expenses. Why? Now pause. I'm gonna ask you to get that income number and the expense number. You got them? Revenue minus expenses equals your net income. Congrats, you know what you're working with. For some of us, it might be a lot, and for others, it might be a whole lot of nothing. We know how much we make and how much we spend, but can we adjust it? We've talked about the fixed expenses and variable expenses, but it's time that we unpack that and categorize them even further. First, you're gonna group your expenses into categories. I like to think of these as housing, transportation, groceries, and entertainment. I would suggest to keep this simple. You are gonna want to track this over time. Don't overcomplicate it now and make it harder on yourself later. This is gonna be the hard part, as you're gonna do this for at least a month or two. Track your expenses. What are you spending your money on? It's time to critically assess your spending. You now see where your money's going. Write down your goals. If investing is a priority, you have to make it so. You make the choices that are going to help you reach your goals. Here are some questions to get the gears turning about a potential budget solution for you. Are there any variable expenses that I can adjust? I'm not going to sacrifice my coffee, but I might sacrifice buying that stationery package I've had my eye on. What is my timeline for achieving my financial goals? Do you have goals for the end of the year, or do you have goals for the end of this decade? Not everybody's goals have to be achieved by the end of the week, so knowing your own timeline will be crucial for how you budget. How much money can I realistically set aside each month? It's perfectly fine to start small. In fact, that's probably most realistic for many of us. It's completely dependent on what you can do. You need to be realistic in your budget, and that's gonna look different for everybody. For many, adopting a budgeting framework is crucial and will help us stay aligned with our goals. Everybody's budget will look different. You can use these frameworks, you can adjust these frameworks, or do whatever you want, but they're just guidelines. Let's dive into 3 of the most popular budgeting frameworks. First up, the infamous 50-30-20. Think of this framework as breaking the budget up into needs, wants, and savings / debt repayment, depending on where you are with your budget. 50% for necessities such as housing, food, transportation, and healthcare. 50% for necessities. These are the things that you absolutely need. 30% for discretionary spending like entertainment, eating out, shopping. 30% goes to the discretionary spending. This is gonna be the stuff we really want to do. That's fun, it's entertaining. 20% savings and debt repayment. We set aside 20% for savings and or debt repayment. It's well balanced and easy to follow, which makes it sort of a favorite for many beginning budgeters. Next, the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule says that 80% of your income should go towards things that are most essential to you, like housing, food, and transportation. The remaining 20 can be used for things that are less important, like eating out, shopping, entertainment. Think of these as the things you want to do. This has less structure as it really asks you, what is important? What are the things you must do versus the things you want to do? Does investing and saving fit into the want category or the need category? That's your call. Last, certainly not least, the third budgeting framework, and aptly ranked, is the 30%. So silly. The 30% budgeting framework is really simplistic in nature, and it simply says you should save 30% of your income. I mean, if you can set aside 30% of your income for saving and investing, sweet. But we can see how this approach is not entirely realistic for most of us. This framework will prove very beneficial to those that have a net income and just now are beginning their budget. The 30% savings rules provides a straightforward approach to managing one's money without a lot of time. If these frameworks don't suit your needs, that's okay. You can devise your own plan of action using the data that you've collected. Regardless of your framework, your percentages, how you organize and categorize your expenses, budgeting will always be crucial for managing personal finances. As investors and just consumers in this world, it's so important that we stay up to date with our spending habits. Constantly track your progress and review your goals because you might want to update them as you continue to save. Remember, stick to your budget. Prioritize what matters, whether that's saving, investing, repaying debts. Investing on a budget shouldn't feel overwhelming. Sometimes getting started does. And let's be real, budgeting is always made easier when you have a community to hold you accountable. So, if you want to join the Pluto community and share your investment and personal finance journey with us, we'd love to hear your story. Join the Pluto Discord now by using the link in the description. Later, traders!